your consent. And then for class today, I have a strap, and you might find that you don't need this. There'll be opportunities to bring the knees into the chest. You might use a winter scarf instead. And then I have a yoga blanket that I'm going to use for practice. We're going to start by rolling it up into a roll. Now, instead of a yoga blanket, you might use a throw blanket from your couch or 2 beach towels from your bathroom or fluffy towels. And then I'm going to leave my rolled up blanket and my strap near my mat. And then we'll start where we typically do, on our backs, knees bent, planting the pads of the feet and taking a moment to ground ourselves where we are. How often do we just let ourselves be, let our minds notice exactly where we are? And so as you lay down on the floor, you might allow your mind's eye to notice the weight of the whole of your back just resting down against the earth. You might soften the shoulder blades and the shoulders, let the heart center melt. On your next inhale, you might fill the belly deep, feel it expand. And then as you exhale, let the belly soften and fall towards the earth. Feel the hips relaxing. And then allow your mind's eye to notice the pressure that you feel in the low back here. Notice the low back gently pressing, resting down into the earth. We're just going to take in the sensation, allowing the mind's eye to remain in the low back, noticing that pressure. And then you might gently sway the knees from left to right, just a tiny bit. The pads of the feet remain planted. We're softening through the low belly and the hips. But notice now how the pressure on the low back rolls from left to right. We're just allowing our mind to take in the changing sensation, the pressure shifting back and forth. And then allow the knees to soften into stillness once more. Tonight's practice, or this morning's practice rather, is all about the sacral chakra. Last week we focused on the root chakra at the very base of the tailbone. And the sacral chakra is located just above the root chakra in the place of our sacrum. And our sacrum here, you can feel it if you start to press down through the tailbone. So from this place of relaxation, first notice once more the pressure in the low back, the body naturally weighted down through the low back. And then we'll begin to gently press our tailbone down into the earth, nice and slow. And as you do this, notice the weight shift from the low back down through the sacrum towards the tailbone. Notice how the low back has lifted here, a gentle arch, the belly pressing forward towards the sky. You might take a deep breath down into the belly, noticing the ease which you can fill the belly with the breath here. And then on an exhale, release any effort in the pelvis, in the tailbone, let the low back settle back down into the earth. And then once more, slowly start to press down through the tailbone and just feel the pressure shift from the low back down through the sacrum, all the way towards the tailbone, and hold once more. Breathe deep into the low belly. And then if you would like, you might sweep both hands overhead, letting the backs of the arms rest. The heart center gently opens here. We continue to breathe into the depths of our belly, keeping that low back arch, tailbone pressed down. On an exhale of your choice, start to melt, release any effort in the pelvis. Feel the pressure shift back down into the low back as we relax effort. One more time, we're going to start to shift down to the tailbone, but before you do, make or set an intention to move incredibly slowly. And so together, we'll notice the pressure in the low back. And then we'll begin to roll that pressure down into the tailbone. Feel it shift through the sacrum. Feel the low back lift. The tailbone presses down. You might notice the heart pressing skyward just a little more here. Breathing deep into the belly. The work that we're doing here not only strengthens the hips, the low back, the low belly, but it also releases patterns of chronic tension in the low back and the low belly. And we take it slow to allow the brain and the nervous system to remap those neural pathways, to really deeply learn this slow, intentional movement. On an exhale, let all effort melt from the pelvis. Feel the low back nestled onto the earth once more. And then just to find balance, start to press through the pads of the feet and curl the tailbone up towards the ceiling. You'll feel the low back lengthen here, and you might even feel pressure in the sacral area intensify as you curl that tailbone up towards the sky. So we're not pressing into the pads of the feet so hard we're lifting our sacrum or our tailbone. We're just feeling that length in the low back as the tailbone curls up. Notice where sensation builds in the body. Is it in the thighs or the calves? Maybe in the glutes. Can you soften through each glute, each cheek here for a moment as you continue to press through the pads of the feet, lengthen through the low back? And then begin to melt, releasing the effort in the pelvis nice and slow, like ice cream softening in the sun. Once you find the pelvis melted and fully released, we'll once more press down into the pads of the feet. Feel the tailbone curl up. Notice the length you're bringing to the low spine, to the sacral area here. And then release any effort in the jaw, the throat, the shoulders. Focus all of the effort in the legs, in curling the tailbone skyward, or even breathing into the belly here. We don't want to shallow or hold the breath. Noticing once more where sensation builds as we gently hold this. Personally, I'm feeling it in the tops of my thighs and maybe my knees even a little bit. Maybe down in the low belly. And then begin to soften, but let it move slow. Let the softening unfold over a few rounds of breath as you release any effort from the tailbone, the low back, the pelvis, the low belly. We melt and release. Wonderful. We're going to move into a gentle Bandhanasana. So keeping the hips and the feet firmly anchored where they are. We're going to take our right wrist or forearm and our left hand and start to slide that right arm over towards the left. And once we meet the head and the shoulders, we're going to slide those head and those shoulders along with the arm over towards the left. Feeling the right side of the body lengthen, soften, and stretch as the left side of the body compresses and shortens here. Move as far into this side stretch as you would like, and then soften the body. Release effort through the belly, the shoulder blades. If you'd like, you can extend the right leg long, press through the heel, lower your right heel on down towards the earth, towards the mat. Notice how sensation changes. And you might hang out here in softness, just letting the body relax a little bit, keeping that left knee tracking towards the sky, but letting everything else sort of just soften into messiness. We're here to allow ourselves to be, to breathe. If the mind wanders, you might invite it back into this lengthening sensation on the right side of the body. The mind wanders, you might press out through that right heel as you press out through those right fingertips, just to increase the intensity of sensation. Let the mind become occupied with the sensation in your physical body. This is how we gently fool our busy minds into remaining in the present moment. When you're ready, release all effort from the body. We're going to bend that right knee, slide the head, shoulders, and arms back upright, and switch sides when you're ready. No rush. Finding your center, planting the feet and the hips firmly, and then sliding on over towards the right. Notice how the left side of the body lengthens here. When you find where you want to be, we soften. We let go, we breathe deep into the belly, both knees pointed upwards. And then if you'd like, extending that left leg, pressing through that left heel as we gently flex the toes up towards the heart. We note once more, how has that stretch on the left side of the body changed? Is it more or less intense now? Do you feel this up in your armpit, maybe down in your belly, your hip, your leg? We simply notice and allow. You're welcome to hang out here for as long as you like. And when it feels right, bend that knee, plant the pad of the foot, slide back up to upright. It's here that we're going to grab this rolled up blanket and the strap nearby. We're going to come into a supported bridge. To do that, we walk the heels of the feet towards our glutes, planting them firmly. And then I like to secure my upper arms as well by walking them in towards the sides of my rib cage and letting my heart puff out. So I have this strong anchor through the backs of my arms. I like to leave my elbows bent, fingertips skyward. You might plant your arms or tee them out. It's up to you. But from here, start to press down through the pads of the feet, just like we were before. Let the tailbone curl up towards the sky. Feel the low back lengthen. Notice how this feels different with your heels walked up towards your glutes. Breathe into the belly. We're not lifting the pelvis just yet. We're still lengthening through the low back, pressing firmly but gently through the pads of our feet. One more deep breath into the belly. As you exhale, soften the hips back down. Feel the low back, weight. You might even feel some weight down in the sacral area here with the heels tucked close to the body. And now we'll move into the fullness of bridge. So once more, pressing through the pads of the feet, curl the tailbone up. This time, squeeze your glutes, squeeze those butt cheeks, and press the pelvis up towards the ceiling. So we're pressing through the pads of our feet. Our knees remain upright. Squeeze, squeeze those cheeks. This is what allows us to find that lift. Breathe into the belly here. Feel sensation arise, and maybe you're lifted quite far towards the ceiling. Maybe you're just hovering. Maybe you're just imagining lifting the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Let it be. Hold for one more deep breath, and then on an exhale, lower those hips on down towards the earth, nice and slow. Release any effort in those glutes and hips. Let's shake them out. Back and forth, we shift our hips up towards our armpits, left and right. Little hip shimmy and a shake here, fast or slow. It's up to you. And then find stillness once more. We'll press to the pads of our feet, squeeze the glutes, lift that tailbone up. This time, grab your blanket. We're going to place that roll directly underneath the sacrum. So below the low back, above the pelvis. We'll place that roll and then rest the sacrum down onto this roll. And once more, we're going to find a sway in the knees left and right. Just a little one, pads of the feet still planted, softening through the low belly, but notice how it feels different. The sacrum pressed directly in to the support beneath us. Notice how the weight shifts across the sacrum, left to right, as the knees sway. Can you breathe deep into the low belly, sending your breath into that sacral area? And then exhale. Imagine the low belly, the low back softening here. We'll allow the knees to rock into a gentle stillness once more.
Tell us where to put the blanket again.
Ooh, the blanket goes beneath the sacrum. So it's nice and rolled up. And so the low back that we feel pressed down onto the earth when the blanket is not underneath us, we're going to place the blanket just below that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. And so this is the area of our sacrum, right? The low back. And so allowing the mind's eye to once more really feel that sensation of your sacrum, your low back, pressing gently down into this blanket. The beautiful part about leaving this prop beneath the sacrum is that it brings some ease and mobility into our hips. So you might, keeping that strap nearby, press down through the pad of your right foot, let the left knee lift up towards the chest, towards the heart. And then you might grab the outside of this thigh, or you might grab your strap, weaving it behind the thigh to hold you up here. And then when you're ready, lift the right knee up as well. And you might notice grabbing the backs of the thighs, the tops of the knees. You might thread your strap behind both thighs. There are a lot of ways to do this. Or on top of your shins, right? Get creative. There are no rules. We use the props how they feel good to us. So strap or no strap, inviting the knees up in towards the chest. This time, find that gentle rock once more, just a little bit. We're going to stay on our blanket or our towels that we have rolled up underneath our low back, sacrum. Once more, this gentle rock, keeping it chill and relaxed today. Once more, we let that rock ease towards stillness. Knees still tucked into the chest. We're going to do some hip circles. So you can do these hip circles using the strength of the low belly and the abdomen. We can supplement or support our body by also holding on to this strap. And you can choose your challenge. So no strap is pretty challenging. You might hold on to your strap lightly or firmly, but we're going to imagine that there's little pencils sticking out the tips of our knees. Boy, that's disturbing, isn't it? We're going to draw little circles on the ceiling. And let the circles be, I don't know, comfortable, easy. We're not going for huge hip circles here, just a little circular shifting of the hips. And as you draw these little circles on the ceiling with your knees, now is the time to experiment. Would you like to use more or less of this strap? So play, try it, experiment, find what feels good. And then when you're ready, let those circles grow. Drawing bigger and bigger circles with the knees. We're following the natural motion of our hip sockets here. These are 360-degree sockets. And they need us to love and explore the full range of them. You might notice as your circles increase in size, so does the amount of effort that you're putting in. From wherever you are, we'll roll to a stop and switch directions. Big, deep hip circles. As large as the body is enjoying, knowing that sensation will be more intense in the low back with this blanket at the sacrum. There's a lot of massaging into the deep tissue and the fascia of the low back and the sacrum that's happening here as we strengthen our hips, our low belly. From here, we're going to plant the feet back down on the mat. And we're going to extend first the right leg long, pressing through the heel, flexing the toes towards the body. Notice how this feels in the body, in the low back, in the low belly. We take a moment here to soften into any sensation that we feel. Now, we don't want it to be sharp. We don't want the sensation to be so intense that we can't soften into it or sit with it. And so if you're experiencing that in the low back, you might take a gentle bend in that right leg to relieve some of that pressure. But otherwise, continue to allow any areas of intensity to begin to release. You might even imagine sending your breath down into any area that carries sensation. Imagine your inhale expanding that space, stretching the muscles, the fascia. And then as you exhale, imagining that area of sensation softening. And no matter where sensation is in the body, this practice of sending the breath there to create expansiveness and then release is a powerful one. And the more you practice it, the more effective it becomes. We'll take it nice and slow. We're going to bend that right knee, slide the heel back in towards the body, plant the foot. Extend the left leg long, rest the heel down, flex the toes towards the heart. Breathe deep into any areas of tightness, any areas where we feel achiness, tenderness. We soften and create relief in any place where pain or intensity might arise that doesn't serve us by bending that left knee. But we just soften here otherwise. Not only in the hips, that front left side of our belly, but also up in the shoulders, the jaw, and the tongue. Can we simply be here? Allowing the prop and our willingness to surrender to do most of the work. Sometimes the hardest part is simply allowing and being. When it feels right, bend that left knee, slide the heel back towards the body, plant the foot. All right, let's wag those knees or sway those knees once more, left to right. This is a lot of sensation for the sacrum. From here, we'll pause with knees pointed skyward and heel toe the feet about mat width apart. And once more, find the gentle sway, but slow it down. We don't want to be in any rush. We're going to find the same sway with feet wide, letting the knees gently fall from side to side. You might come up on the blade edges of your feet as this sway grows, as you soften into it through the front of the belly. Beautiful. Find stillness, heel toe the feet back together. We're going to come back into our bridge posture. So walking the heels up towards our glutes, securing the backs of the arms, letting the heart pump forward, right? We're finding our strong base. And then we'll press into the pads of our feet, lift the hips up off that blanket or towel roll and slide it out of the way. Slowly lowering those hips back down onto the earth. Notice what it feels like to release the low back down fully into the mat. How different it feels than having that support beneath it. Beautiful. From here, we're going to come up into a seat. Now, you might roll over onto your side body and press yourself up. You might enjoy grabbing the backs of the knees and rolling up. And if that's the case, we just find a little momentum, right? It can take a few tries. It can be fun to play with. It can be fun to fail at and then roll over and press yourself up. Wherever you find yourself, grab your blanket once more, unroll it so that now it becomes a pad or a little boost for our seat. We're going to place this up underneath our hips and then take a seat up on it. I will never, never, never not cue sitting up on a bolster, a pillow, or a blanket when we come into seated postures. It leaves so much room for our body to move, and it supports our low back by aligning that sacrum and the low vertebra of the lumbar spine to create ease in our posture. So now we're not going to fight to remain upright. We're not going to fight to keep from experiencing pain in the low back as we hold ourselves here. By just using this little prop for our seat, we're going to allow ourselves so much more presence in our physical body. So from here, from Sukhasana, you might take it legs crossed. You might widen your feet out, making plenty of room for the belly here. But we're going to close our eyes, centering ourselves once more. Feel the weight of your body press down through your sits bones. You might even take a gentle sway left and right and just feel the weight rock from left sit bone to right sit bone and back and forth. a lot of simply feeling and noticing today. We underestimate the power that this has for our mind-body connection. We underestimate how quickly our mind and muscles learn when we take things slow, when we drop our awareness down deep, feeling the weight of the body shift from left to right sit bone. And then eventually rocking into soft stillness, upright. We'll take a forward fold. From here, we'll prep by inhaling, drawing energy up from our sacrum, pulling it up through the length of our spine. Let it bring with us length to the physical body. Once more, inhale, imagining the breath pulling up from the sacrum through the spine, out the top of the head. As you exhale, relax the shoulders from the ears. Let's do this breath twice more. Inhale, find that length, pulling the energy up through the meridian of the body. Exhale, shoulders relax. On an inhale, find this length once more. This time as you exhale, invite the heart to bow forward. So the neck remains in alignment with the spine. We're drawing the belly forward, so we want to leave plenty of room. The low back doesn't round here. The belly and the heart sink forward. And we're going nice and slow, right? We don't want to rush it. We might keep our elbows on top of our thighs for support. We might extend our arms out long towards the earth. But we're breathing deep into the low belly here, deep into the heart, letting both bow forward. This is a wonderful stretch for the low back, cracking open the sacrum. By doing this in Sukhasana with our knees out towards the side, we're also opening through the hips. From wherever you are, whether hands are on the thighs or on the floor, we're going to walk our hands over towards the left. Now, if you have both hands planted, you might use them as an anchor to twist the heart center over top this left thigh. As much or as little feels good, I'm leaving my belly here in between my legs and simply turning the top half, my heart atop this thigh. If the hands are on the thighs, it might look like this. Wherever you are, surrendering the heart center. And then when you're ready, walk your hands on over towards the right, anchoring them on the floor or on the thighs and using that anchor to twist the heart atop this right thigh. Leaving plenty of room for the breath here. Breathe deep into the belly. On an exhale, walk your hands back to neutral. On an inhale, we'll start to curl up vertebra by vertebra, taking it nice and slow. Might take a few rounds of breath to rise, but eventually we'll find ourselves upright, our head floating above our shoulders. All right, from here, let's extend the legs out wide. We're going to find a pretty big slice today. So from a place of comfort, simply to enjoy a hip opening here and to bring some love to the sacral chakra, find your comfort zone and then consider taking it an inch or two wider than that. And we're not here to seek sensation that is painful or distracting, but maybe that brings a little more heat than we might normally choose. So if that does not speak to you this morning, pick your cozy spot and do not apologize for it. But if it sounds curious, if it sounds like something you might want to experiment with, widen those legs up just a little bit. And then we're going to find a big twist. So on an inhale, sweep both arms out and up. As you exhale, you're going to plant your left arm directly behind you. Your right arm is just going to swing out towards the left side of your body. Once more, we're pressing into the pad of that left arm, using it as an anchor to turn the heart. Breathe here. On an inhale, rise up, both arms skyward. Exhale, let's switch sides. Plant that right arm behind you, lean back into it. And then our left arm swings in front of us over towards the right. Gazing over that right shoulder if it feels good. And we're just imagining the heart center twisting here. Wonderful. One more deep breath in, noticing how it feels to take deep breaths in this twist and then release that left arm skyward, right arm follows. Let's find a little flow. Plant that left arm behind us, right arm presses across the body. On an inhale, sweep that right arm up overhead. Let's switch sides. A twisted flow. This is a lot. It challenges us to take deep, slow inhales and exhales so that we can move our body through this twist with integrity, with a gentle, slow control. And maybe you take 2 breaths. Once more on either side. Letting it be easy. Our sacral chakra, the element that corresponds is water. Hang out here in stillness for a moment. This time we're going to find another forward fold, but with legs wide. So pressing through the heels of the feet, flex the toes towards the body. Let it be gentle. It's not so much that the heels lift and the legs are really tense, but we're looking for just a mild engagement in the legs. On an inhale, find that length once more. Press up through the top of the head. As you exhale, the heart center surrenders. Use your hands, your arms as support as much as feels good. And once more, we just allow the belly to drop forward, the heart to surrender forward. Breathing deep into the belly here. As we sink down, as far as feels good, you might extend the arms out long again, but check in with the feet. Flex through the toes once more. We turn our toes up towards the ceiling. They tend to want to curl inwards. So we'll track our toes up towards the ceiling again. And then once more, focus our mind's awareness on this heart center and the belly surrendering. When you've reached your sweet spot, you might let the head hang heavy here. Ooh. Finding this C shape in the spine. You can press through your arms to support your upper body, or you can simply let the body hang loose in this fold. Pick what feels good today. Sometimes what our practice needs is us to choose the sensations, the postures, and the exploration that makes us want to come back, that makes us want to find this place yet again. We're going to use the strength of our hands. We're going to walk them back towards the body, pressing through the arms. We rise up. We're not here to hurt the low back. Rise up into your seat. All right. We're going to find tabletop. So from here, we come onto our hands and knees. Now, I always use my blanket as a pad for my knees, right? Why cause ourselves hurt and stress if we don't need to? You might simply come into tabletop with the palms of your hands below the shoulders. You can walk your hands forward a few inches to bring some relief to the wrists, or you might bend your elbows and do this on blocks or bedside or the side of your couch. So if we're protecting wrists, definitely find yourself there. From wherever you are, we'll imagine that we're a table, pressing through the top of the head, down through the tailbone. We imagine length through the spine. And then we're only going to move the hips here. So we're really used to cat-cow, which is a full body spinal flexion and extension. But for our hip chakra, for our sacral chakra, we're going to stick with the hips and the low back alone. So from here, soften through the belly. Feel the belly button drop down towards the mat. You might even take a deep breath in and just stretch your belly wide. Exhale, let it soften. We're going to start to relax the low back now, along with the belly. And as you do this, you might notice the tailbone curls up towards the ceiling. Begin to really press that tailbone skyward. Notice how the low belly drops even further towards the earth as you do this. Take a few more breaths, mindfully deep down into the low belly. This is the home of our sacral chakra. We breathe deep into it here, bringing release, inviting that chakra wheel, that energy wheel to crack open, to begin spinning yet again, allowing energy to flow freely through our physical body. Beautiful. Focusing our movement on the pelvis alone, we're going to reverse this motion, bringing to a low body cat. So start to curl the tailbone in towards the belly button. You're going to feel that low back lengthen. Ooh, we know this. We've been doing it at the start of our practice. Tucking the tailbone in towards the belly button. Hold here. Can you press down through the tops of the feet or through the shins and tuck that tailbone in any further? Can you tuck the tailbone in without squeezing your glutes, without squeezing your booty cheeks? Things to experiment and play with here. And then on an inhale, let the belly drop low, the tailbone curls up towards the spine. Let's move back and forth with the breath. Exhale, curl that tailbone in towards the belly button, low back lengthens. Inhale, drop the belly low, tailbone curls up. Focusing our movement on the lower half of the body, letting it be slow and exaggerated. Exploring the depths that our body invites us to today. On an exhale, find neutral. We're going to do some lateral extension of the hips. So we've been shifting the hips up and down. Now we're going to shift them left and right. And we'll do this by drawing the left hip up towards this left armpit. Notice how the left side of the body shortens here as the right side of the body lengthens, just like in Bananasana. You might feel this as a side crunch on the right side of the body. You might really press into that length on the left side of the body. And then let's reverse it. Shift the left hip up towards that left armpit. Feel the left side of the body shorten as the right side now lengthens. And then let's move with the breath, inhaling, shifting sides, exhaling, finding the other side. Back and forth, these lateral hip shifts. Beautiful. When you're ready, find stillness. We're going to walk our hands back towards the body, come up onto the knees. Now, staying on your blanket, I'm just going to face you so that we can see each other better. We're going to give our wrists a break, but we're going to still really love and dig into our sacral chakra here in the hips. And we're going to do it just like this. So from your knees, place your hands on your hips. We're going to plant through the tops of the feet really firmly, right? Those shins down in the earth. We're going to find some hip shifts. So we're going to do this pelvic cat-cow, but upright. So when you're ready, we're going to tuck the tailbone in towards the belly button, feel the low back relax and lengthen. Then reverse it on an inhale, tuck the tailbone behind you, let the low belly fall forward. Let's move with the breath. Exhale, tuck the tailbone in, pelvis shifts forward. Inhale, pelvis shifts back, belly falls forward, back and forth. 2 more rounds of breath. And then find neutral on an exhale. Lateral hip shifts. You ready? That right hip shifts up, or that left hip shifts up towards that left shoulder. Notice how my left shoulder drops down towards the hip. Let it have a little attitude here. And then let's find the other side, shifting the hips. We're focusing here on the pelvis. And then let's do side to side, finding the range of your personal motion, really exploring this. And then on an exhale, relax into stillness. Let's get a little, have a little fun with it. So from here, let's shift the pelvis forward. Tuck the tailbone in towards the belly button. From here, we'll shift our hips over towards the right. Now shift it back, let the belly fall forward, and then shift your hips over towards the left. So finding these circles, from here, we curl, tuck the tailbone in, pelvis falls forward. Hip shifts towards the right. Roll it on back, belly falls forward. Roll it over towards the left, hip shifts towards the left. So we're finding hip circles. You might move at your own pace in these circles, letting it be exaggerated. Exploring the circles in the hips. And then when you're ready, pause, shake it out. We have the other direction to go, but we're going to do it from our hands and knees. You ready, y'all? Come back into tabletop. From our hands and knees, we're going to be doing these same hip shifts or hip circles. And we're going to start by tucking our tailbone in towards the belly button, right? Pelvis comes forward, or into cat, backwards, excuse me. And then we'll shift our hips over towards the left. Drop the belly down, curl the tailbone up into lower body cow, and then shift the hip over towards the right. Curl up into cat when you're ready in the low body. Hip shifts over towards the left. Inhale, drop the belly low. Finding your hip circles in the opposite direction as before. Letting it be messy, knowing that one side or one direction might feel significantly easier than the other direction, and that's all right. We're just going to let it be. Everything that we're doing here strengthens the low back and the hips, and also helps release chronic tension, stored trauma, patterns in the physical body that trap energy. When you're ready, find a neutral tabletop. Walk the hands towards the body. We're going to step up into Anjaneyasana. So from our knees, we're going to step our left leg forward. Feel that front left foot planted into the earth. From here, hands come onto the hips. We're going to slide, I'll show you, slide your thumbs towards the spine until the pads of the palms of the hands are pressing down into the low back. And then we're gently going to open the hips. We do this first by inhaling, sending the heart up towards the sky, squeezing those elbows together, right? Our shoulder blades squeeze together. Really feel the heart open, and then let the gaze follow the heart. I'm not letting the back of my head collapse. I'm really pressing my chin, my gaze up towards the sky. And you might hang out here, squeezing those shoulder blades together, breathing into the belly. If you want to move this into the hips, you might gently shift the hips forward. You might even aid with the palms of your hands, gently shifting the hips forward. Breathing into the body. We'll hold this for 2 more breaths wherever we are, breathing in deep. Exhaling all the way. And then on your next exhale, shift the hips back into Ardha Hanumanasana, half Hanuman. We're going to straighten this left leg, come up onto the heel, flex the toes towards the heart. You'll plant your hands on either side of the leg. You might even rest your hands atop this thigh, but be careful of that knee. So half Hanuman. These postures that we're doing here are known to help release that sacral chakra. Once more, we'll rise up. This time, instead of moving forward into a regular Anjaneyasana asana, you're going to take your left leg and you're going to shift it out towards the left about 45 degrees. So take a generous step out towards the left. Doesn't have to be perfect. Who even knows what 45 degrees is? But shift it out towards the left a little bit. This time, we're going to lean into that knee tracks over the toes. We open up our hips diagonally. My heart remains stacked above my hips as well as my head. So unlike Anjaneyasana, I'm not leaning my heart center anywhere. I'm just bending that left knee, opening up my hips on this diagonal and breathing when I find my sweet spot. So you might try that out. Pressing firmly through the pad of this front left leg. We want to keep the hips engaged so that we're not moving past our range of motion. 2 more deep breaths, letting sensation build as it does. Noticing where in the physical body you feel this sensation. And then when you're ready, release, come back up. Wonderful. We're going to find Hanumanasana on the diagonal. So extend the left leg long, lift the heel. This time, instead of turning atop that leg, we're going to plant both hands on the ground in front of us. So Hanumanasana on the diagonal looks just like this. Breathing here. When you're ready, rise up. And then I'm going to turn my trajectory so you can see. Right now, we're on the diagonal. I'm going to invite you to take it out a full 90 degrees. So my right knee is bent, facing this way. My left knee, foot planted, facing out towards the left, 90 degrees. From here, you're going to lean open into that knee. So we opened up the hips forward, diagonal, and now out towards the side. When you're ready, press strong through the pad of this left foot, rise back up to neutral. And then let's do this one more time, but let's heel toe this left foot a little further away from the body. And then bend into it, as much or as little as you like. Sometimes we have a little more range of motion out here. Breathe and be. We're holding. We're engaging the muscles around the thighs. And then when you're ready, straighten that left leg all the way. Come up onto the heel. And then if you would like, once more, we plant both hands and sit back on that right heel. Beautiful. It's a lot of hip and sacral work today. We'll rise up. We'll switch sides. Let's find Hanumanasana, our traditional Hanumanasana on the right side. So right leg steps forward. When you're ready, hands find your hips. We're going to scoot our thumbs towards one another until the palms find the low back. And then when you are ready, take a deep breath into the heart, squeeze those shoulders together, the elbows towards one another, gaze rises. Breathe here, pressing through the whole of that front right foot. Feel your strength. If you would like, and only if you would like, take this opportunity to press the hips forward. As the hips press forward, the heart and the gaze rise even stronger towards the sky. This is how we protect the body as we move and stretch and strengthen the hips. Beautiful. One more deep breath wherever you are. And as you exhale, extend that right leg long, half Hanumanasana. We're either planting our hands on either side of the leg or we're supporting ourselves up by the hip. You might also grab blocks. I should have brought blocks. Place them underneath the hands here, whatever brings ease, right? When you're ready, come back up onto the pad of that right foot. We're going to heel toe. This doesn't look like the right to you. This looks like the left. I see that. We're going to heel toe our right foot out towards the right on the diagonal. And then when you are ready, bend in to that right knee tracks over the toes. And we're just going to hang. We're not looking to move to the full range of motion that we can explore here, but we're looking for some intensity that we can sit with, that we can strengthen into by engaging here in the thighs, breathing into the belly, relaxing the shoulders down towards the earth. We engage only where we need to in the physical body, right? The rest of us finds ease. The rest of us relaxes. When you're ready, pressing down through the pad of that right foot, track right back up, Hanumanasana at an angle here. Both palms come down in front of you on the inside of this right leg now. Sometimes this can feel hard on the knee, and if that's the case, just take a gentle bend. We don't want to hyperextend our legs. All right, press back up into this modified Anjaneyasana. From here, heel toe your feet, your right foot all the way open towards the right. When you are ready, press into that right knee. Let the hips soften and open here on the inside. Engage strong through the whole of this right leg, right? Feel your strength pressing down through the pad of that right foot. And breathe. Can you allow sensation and effort to build everywhere you're using it and allow it to soften and release everywhere else? We're not letting the breath shallow. We're not holding it. We are here. When you're ready, extend that right leg. Sit back on that left heel. We take a moment here. Rise back up. Sweep this right knee behind you. We're going to do a wide-legged child's pose and a quick cool down. From wherever you are, you might leave the blankets underneath the knees, but we're going to keep our big toes together. We're going to spread our knees out wide. And then from here, I'm sitting my hips back towards my heels as I walk my heart center down towards the earth. And you might grab this blanket for underneath the heart. That can feel really good. You might walk down onto forearms. You might continue on down, resting the heart center, maybe even the chin. And then when you find yourself down here, however you want to experience your wide-legged child's fold, see if you can't soften through the hips. Breathe into that low belly. Relax through your jaw and your tongue for a moment. Feel the palms of your hands. What sensations do you feel in the palms of your hands here? We'll walk the hands back towards the body, rising up into tabletop. And from here, just make your way onto your back. We'll end our practice here, knees bent, pads of the feet planted. I told you it was going to be a chill practice, and I guess it definitely came with some intensity. From here, sweep your arms up overhead. Let the back of the hands touch down on the earth behind you. Soften the arms into the earth. Let the heart center open wide here. And then a few options to end our practice. If you would like to take a deep hip opener in Supta Baddha Konasana, you might bring the pads of the feet together and let your knees fall out towards the sides, holding the heels as close or as far from the torso as feels good. Here's an option. You might choose to end your practice in a different hip opener, opening the outside of the hips. To do this, we heel toe the feet out as wide as they go, wider than mat width apart. And then we let the knees fall gently inward toward one another, relaxing through the inner thighs, coming up onto the inside blade edges of the feet. Both of these postures open the hips in different ways. So you choose how you want to spend the next 2 minutes, and let's hang out there, breathing and being and releasing our sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is the home of our creativity. It's the home of our passion. It's the home of our authentic self-expression, of our freedom, of joy without guilt, of play without rules and expectations. The root chakra associated with the element of water is the home of our emotions. This place, when blocked, when stuck, can make us feel timid, can make it hard to express ourselves in ways that are in alignment with our values, can make it hard to create, to trust in what you know, to ignite your passion and your joy. The mantra of the sacral chakra is I feel. And so you might end your practice today with a mantra that hits home for you. And so, with eyes closed or gaze softened, allow your awareness to travel down to the sacrum, that space just below the low back, just above the tailbone. And as you focus on the area and whatever sensations arise there, you might find your mantra, I feel. And maybe it's something like, I feel my power. I feel my emotions flowing freely through me. I feel freedom. I feel hope. Whatever it is, whatever comes to mind, maybe a million things come to mind, maybe just one, maybe none at all. And you lie here sensing the sacrum and simply thinking, I feel. On your next inhale, send the breath down deep into the low belly. Imagine it pooling in the area of your sacrum, expanding, creating space. And as you exhale, soften the low belly, the sacrum, the hips. It's here we'll end our practice. You might heel toe your feet together or pull your knees together from wherever they are. If you'd like, you can roll over onto the side body in a fetal position, supporting the head with an arm or that blanket nearby. And then when you're ready, pressing yourself up into a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like. Maybe it's bound angle here as well. We'll end our practice. And you might bring both palms to the heart center, or you might today take both palms to the low belly and the sacrum. And we end our practice by showing ourselves some gratitude, saying thank you to self for being willing to show up. Sometimes, oftentimes, even when we do not want to. The hardest part, rolling out our mat and making the choice, and you did. And it's powerful. It's a gift only you can give. Thank you for practicing with me today. The light and the dark in me, the creativity, the magic, the fear of self-expression, sees the light and the dark in you, and there is room for it all within us.